credit. Oh, it is so important. So important. So let me share with you my experiences on how I got my credit score from the 400s to the 700s in about a 12-month span. So for those that are familiar with me and familiar with my channel, thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you are not familiar, I hope this video can really help you out. And again, my name is Black Rob and you are watching me on Black Rob Official. So I don't want to spend too much time with some long intro. I think I just want to jump right in. A little over a year ago, say March of 2019, I checked Credit Karma and my credit score was a 498. It was the lowest I had ever been. It was extremely depressing just to see that because at the time I actually knew how important credit was. Now, I'm no financial advisor or I'm no credit doctor or anything of that nature. I'm just a normal person, just most likely like you, the viewer. Of course, if you're watching this video, you most likely understand how important credit is because you're trying to improve your credit. And if you don't know, just know that it's a very important factor in your life. If you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars laying around, then you're most likely going to need credit to buy a car. You're going to need credit to buy a home. Some jobs require good credit. You even need credit to rent a home. So it can seriously affect your life. I realized the importance of credit when I was, I believe, 21. I'm 25 now, so really not that long ago. I was young and dumb. I bought a new car with a 16% interest rate and I was really getting ripped off. And March of last year was my low point for almost everything. I don't want to make this into a sob story, but I lost a close friend. And the same night of losing that friend, I totaled my car. At the time, my car insurance was $270. I had only paid $250 and didn't really realize how big of a deal was it. It was. Still to this day, currently paying on that car as well as another one. Now you might wonder, whoa, your credit was a four something. How did you get that new car? I had a good relationship with my bank, so they luckily gave me a chance, and still to this day, I'm making 2 car payments. Me telling you this story is just letting you know that it's possible to work on your credit with a lot of bills. You just have to remain disciplined and focused and try to get on top of every bill as well as months ahead. March of last year, before the accident, I made a commitment to myself. That commitment was do not have any more late payments. I told myself I cannot be late on any account ever again. And I understand some of you might think, look, I don't have it right now. It's ways around that. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And sometimes it's tough to actually just get on a phone call and say that you need help or something like that. But call your creditor. If you feel like you're going to be late on a payment, call your creditor because you'll be surprised on how much they are willing to work with you. They might give you a 3-month grace period, or they might just do a payment arrangement or something like that. But, going forward, today, you should start and stay focused on making every single one of your payments on time. So while I was looking at my credit score, I saw how many collections accounts that I had on it. Collections, I had about $8,000 worth of collection accounts, and it was 8 accounts on my credit report. It's extremely sad. And if you're wondering, how can I see this? Download Credit Karma, download MyFICO, download Experian, or even go to freecreditreport.com so you can see exactly what's on your credit and what's harming your credit score. So what I did was I actually wrote down every single collection account. Now, it doesn't have to be on a piece of paper. You can put something like this in your notes, but it needs to be written down so you can always look at it and always realize exactly what you should focus on. Because collections accounts, they're very, very damaging to your credit score. So that's what I started off doing. I just wrote down every collection account, and then I made a budget on exactly what I should attack first and exactly how I should do it. So when you're paying off your credit account, collection agencies, they will offer you settlements and things of that nature. It's a few things that you want to look into before you even accept a settlement. You want to make sure that they are going to delete that off of your credit profile completely, because if not, it could be settled for less with a $0 balance, but it's still a collection on your credit report, which is not good. They don't judge you off of how much is in collections. It's just how many accounts are in collection. So when you're reaching out to these collection agencies, just say, hey, I want to pay this, but I need this deleted. And can you send me a pay for deletion email just to cover your tracks, just to make sure that everything is going to be done the correct way. So remember, ask for a pay for deletion email. So when you pay, you know it's completely gone and it's not just settled on your account. So while I was setting up my personal budget, I decided to add some collection accounts into my personal budget and my expenses, just because I knew these were things that I needed to work on. And I called the collection agencies and said, hey, can I do a 4-month or a 6-month payment? They were completely fine with that. Some collection agencies, they didn't allow me to do a settlement for it to be deleted, so I did have to pay full price. At the time, I had 2 credit cards on my collection account and a few other things that I'd rather not mention. We are all human, so you make a mistake, you just gotta build your way back up and recover from it. So currently, I still actually have 1 account in collections. I went from 8 accounts in collections to 1 in a year time, and I just aggressively paid on these accounts. Whenever I had an extra bit of money, I would try to put it towards that. Now, mind you, collection accounts, they fall off every 7 years. So once you reach out or start a payment arrangement or a settlement, it starts over. So let's say you're at year 6 on your collection account. You have a credit card that was closed out and charged off 6 years ago. It makes no sense to reach out about that credit card and start a settlement, because it starts back over that day that you start the settlement. So at that point, if you're so close to it falling off, just allow it to fall off, because as soon as you start it back up, you're hurting yourself. So at the time, I didn't have any credit cards. I had maxed out a total of 3 credit cards, and I knew I needed a credit card to build my credit. So most credit cards, they have pre-approval processes. So check those out first and see if you qualify before you actually have them run your credit. That's very important. I applied to a credit card company. It was a very terrible credit card. I still have it to this day. I just don't want to close out the account because it's 1 less account on my credit report. I also opened a credit card with my bank, who gave me that chance on the second car loan. And they gave me a pretty decent sized limit. The thing about that is you always want your credit balances to be less than 30%. Ideally, you really want them less than 10%. So the higher credit limit you have, the more money you can spend. But the trick about it is it can affect your credit as well, because you can have multiple accounts with revolving balances, which you don't want. So what I started to focus on doing was paying off my credit card before the statement balance. Credit cards should really only be used as a sense of emergency. And if you do use your credit card for something else, just try to make sure that you actually have the money in your bank account when you use it. You don't want the banks or the credit card lender to actually believe that you need this credit card. You want them to believe that this is just an accessory and you just like the perks that you're getting out of it. So today I actually only use my credit card for purchases. That's the only thing I use, even if I have money in my bank account, just because with the point system that my credit card allows, I get a lot of money back after I spend about $1,000 or $2,000. That usually equals up to about $100 back that's transferred into my savings account. During that point, I say it's about 6 months that passed by, and I saw my credit score increasing slowly. So during that period, I was just looking into ways to do more to make it increase a little bit more. So I was thinking about just opening up another credit card, which honestly hurt and help you at the same time. It's going to help you by having more accounts, because the more accounts you have, the more diversity in your credit file, more likely banks are going to lend to you. But while doing that, again, remember that you need to be selective when you are running your credit. Like, you just don't want to apply to multiple places at once. You need to realize that you need to know if you're going to be approved before you actually run the credit report. Now, in some cases, you can't always do that. Some cases you can't. Now, if you're buying a car and you're planning on looking at multiple cars, do not allow them to run your credit. Say, hey, I'm just shopping around, and tell them regardless that you have good enough credit to be approved. It's a little scary, but at the end of the day, if you are looking at another car and you're not completely sold on one, shop around and tell them that you do not want your credit ran. It boils down to being extremely disciplined. You can reward yourself with certain things after you paid an account off, or after you made 3 months of payments on time, but it starts with being disciplined. What I do after extended stretches of wins, I like to call, I will go buy some shoes or buy some clothes, or maybe go somewhere or take a trip somewhere. And that's how I reward myself. So I do all these things, and then I just feel happy that I'm getting these things done while I'm at the beach or something like that. So I'll pretty much wrap this entire video up. It's a few things I just want to highlight again. Remember, number one, no more late payments. Don't allow it to happen. Reach out to people and see if maybe you can borrow money, or if you could just reach out to the person who's reporting that to Experian and TransUnion. Reach out to them to see if there's some type of arrangement you can set up. But remember, no more late payments going forward. Second, pay down them collection accounts, because most of the time that's what's really holding people back. So if you're close to the 7-year mark, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you're at year 1 or 2 or 3, maybe, call in. Don't ever admit that it's your debt. Call in to see if there is anything you can do. And remember, always ask for a pay to delete. And remember, get that email, because there could be cases where they say they're going to delete it just because they want the money, and then they actually don't delete it because they don't care that much. Now remember, they are buying your debt for pennies to the dollar. So your $3,000 debt probably only costs that company, $5 or less. So they're usually willing to settle, but it's a business and they're a for-profit business, so they want to get as much out of you in the least amount of work. Then the last 2 things is, remember never to go over 30% on your credit file. Try to keep it under 10 if you can, and pay off the balance as soon as you actually use it. And remember, don't run your credit score nonstop, because that's only going to hurt you. You're wondering, how do I manage to pay 2 car notes? I still have rent. I still have expensive car insurance, cell phone bills. How do I manage to make all these payments? I started focusing on making payments every 2 weeks. And I think that's just such a good thing for everyone to do. Because you'll have less money coming out your account, and you'll have money left over. So for instance, my 2 car payments is $1,060. Each paycheck, about $500 is going to each car. Now I've worked enough to be months ahead, so now I'm just paying on plain principal, but still, just getting to the point where you can make payments every 2 weeks is usually ideal for most people. So yeah, just stay tuned to my channel. I really appreciate you all checking this out. Again, I'm most likely going to make a video on how I managed to save $3,000 within a 3-month span, and how you can do it too, and how you can really aggressively save your money while working on your credit score. Is all possible. Again, it's just all about that discipline, but I actually have a few tips that really work for me. So if you're interested in hearing exactly how I did that, of course, leave a comment, like or subscribe, or reach out to me on social media, and I'll be glad to share it. Again, thanks for watching the video, and I am out.